Welcome back to more Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban and what should be the finale. It's been a wild ride. That's playing a PlayStation 2 game, in all honesty, let alone one of my favorite PlayStation 2 games of all time. I don't use that lightly, obviously. I love Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. Don't get me wrong, I love all the Harry Potter games with a shred of something, if that makes sense. I love the fourth Harry Potter game. Honestly, I truly do. Do I think it's the best? No, I think it's one of the most mediocre games in the franchise. But that being said, I do still think it is a fun game in its own right. Um, do I think it is better than the first game, whether it's the PlayStation 1 or the PC version? No. The PC version will always specifically hold a place in my heart because that was the first game I ever beat in my entire life. Granted, with the help of my cousin John, but still, it's the first one I ever beat. And for that reason, it'll always be dear. Um, the second game is amazing. I love it. The second game and the third game have equal charm, in my opinion. Maybe when I buy the second game for the PlayStation 2 and I let's play it here, maybe my mind might change. Because honestly, the reason that puts Prisoner of Azkaban above Chamber of Secrets in general is specifically the character swapping. Honestly, I love the character swapping aspect of this game. I really love the Glacius and Carpe Retractum dungeons. They're actual dungeons and they're well designed, in my opinion. I love both of them. They're both really well done. Sure, every other dungeon in this game is very minor. Comparatively, the Whomping Willow is a small corridors of combat, essentially. The Reparo dungeon section is small, comparatively speaking. The Muggle Studies rescue mission is small, comparatively speaking. What else was there? Oh yeah, the Marauders map one was small compared to everything else, comparatively speaking. Does that make me love it any less? No, I love the Marauders map one. It is an appetizer for what the Glaciatus and Carpe Retractum ones are. Whereas, the Reparo dungeon, the Muggle Studies rescue mission are very story focused ones. And same thing with the Whomping Willow. They're very story focused minor mini dungeons, so to speak. I can't really call them dungeons. They're mini dungeons. They're small. They're fast. They're quick. They take no time at all. Like you can beat all three of those that I just said. The Muggle Studies, the Reparo dungeon, the Whomping Willow. You can beat all of those in like 10 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes. Same thing with the Marauders map. I think the Marauders map one is a better example of a mini dungeon, to be honest, because it has an equal balance of combat and puzzles. Whereas I don't think you can say that with the Reparo dungeon or the Whomping Willow dungeon. Specifically the Whomping Willow one. It is honestly and truly, definitely just a corridor of combat sections. It is a corridor of combat that forces you to use everything forces you to use everything Harry and Hermione has learned up to that point in combat situations. Truthfully.
Wow, house points.
I can never tell if this supposed to be Harry or not, if that's just an Asian guy. Potion jar, last seen in the dungeons. But yeah, honestly. So that being said, out of the mini dungeons, I'd honestly have to say the Marauders map one is my favorite. Because to me it has the best balance of puzzle solving and combat. Whereas the Reparo dungeon, the puzzles aren't really puzzles at all. They're really, really straightforward even when they are. And the Whomping Willow is just a corridor of combat that forces you to use basically what Harry and Hermione have learned up to that point. Carpe Retractum and Glacius and stuff that works in combat. You even have to use Reparo on a thing, and you even have to use
Up to no
the
good,
double
I
team lift
expect.
trunk thing.
That's good to hear.
So there's all that, you know. I mean, it literally teaches you. It literally doesn't teach you. It literally makes you use everything you've learned in a combat sense up to that point in that fight or in that dungeon, that mini dungeon. Reparo is like a Reparo course, you know, with some minor glaciatus. The Muggle studies is like a Reparo, but for Lumos instead, you know. Whereas Glaciatus, you know, it's like a giant glorified Glaciatus course because obviously you don't know that many spells up to that point. You know Flipendo and Expelliarmus, and that's basically it. You learn Lumos shortly after, sure. But in that dungeon, you only know Flipendo and Expelliarmus, and then Hermione learns Glaciatus. So it makes sense that you're limited to puzzle design in the Glaciatus one. So even though the uh, I like the Glaciatus dungeon better from a design aspect, from how it looks, I'd overall have to say that as a dungeon overall, Carpe Retractum is better.
Good.
The puzzles are more varied, obviously, because you know more spells. You know way more spells up to that point. Obviously, you know Carpe Retractum. You learn it in that dungeon. You know Lumos. You know Glaciatus. Obviously, Flipendo and Expelliarmus. The only thing you don't know at that point is, I'm pretty sure, uh, the dragon fire, because you learn that after the Boggart, which is when you learn Patronus. So that's the next two spells you learn is directly after that. And oh yeah, that's right, the Patronus one. I take it back. I think the Patronus one is my favorite mini dungeon. And it's probably the shortest mini dungeon of them all, but it's super effective in teaching Harry how to use the Patronus charm at the end. But it gives you a really good uh, linear direct maze course, Carpe Retractum, um, where you're running from a dimension. I really like that. Honestly, I wouldn't. I love the Marauders map dungeon, but the Patronus dungeon is also really good, so they're both really up there. If I had to pick one below it, I'd say the Muggle Studies one, then the Reparo, then the Whomping Willow. And obviously, both Glaciatus and Carpe Retractum are above all of them, because they're the only fully fleshed out dungeons. I wish the Whomping Willow was a little more fleshed out, honestly. I wish it was more of a dungeon like Carpe Retractum and Glaciatus. I don't think it. Honestly, you didn't have to make it a 40-minute long dungeon or a 30-minute long dungeon. You you could have made it a 20-minute dungeon, and it would have been still so much better. It would have been the third one. It probably would have been the third best dungeon in the game if you had fleshed it out with more puzzles. But instead, you go into a room and you fight. You go into another room and you fight with the Glaciatus spell. Right? One's a straight up fight with Redcaps. Then you have a straight up fight with Doxies in a square room. And then after that, you have a fight with the Salamanders where you use the Glaciatus. And then after that, you have a little dip in the room where you need to use Reparo, get up, and then fight some Pixies, I think it was. Or was it more Salamanders? I think it was more Salamanders. But either way, you just do 4 fighting rooms, and that's it. And then the dungeon ends. You go into the cutscene. And that's it.
Wow. 30
30. Yeah, I know that's it. Does it tell you that's it? Yeah, it tells you that's it because you can't read anything anymore. Alright, so that is everything. We got all the cards, we got all the Fuller Brute pages. I didn't tell you that at the beginning like I said I would, but we have all the Brute pages. We didn't miss any. We have all the cards like I said. The only thing we did not do was the mini games. Which I can do off screen. My heart's content. But mini games are the only thing we haven't done. I believe it was like Headwing Racing or whatever. But yeah. But you know, honestly, that's just how it is. The dungeon design in this game, outside of Carpe Retractum, the Marauders map, and Glaciatus, are really weak or just they suffice. You know what I'm saying? They suffice. But they're not great. They're not all that good. They're okay. They suffice. And I'm specifically targeting
Don't know
like the
whether you
Muggle
ain't got any
Studies
trouble
Terror
finding.
specifically.
Oh, easy, you saving
I
it for
think the
sticking
Whomping
it
Willow
in
dungeon
ya.
is
Then you'll
terrible.
have to watch
I don't like it at
out.
all. I think it's bad. But you know, that's just me. I love the Boggart one. It's literally 3 rooms. But yeah, I got off on a tangent there, dude. All that just by me saying, you know, maybe after I play the second game for y'all, after I get it on the PS2, maybe I'll change my mind and say it's better than Prisoner of Azkaban, because the only reason I really like Prisoner of Azkaban over Chamber of Secrets is the character switching. I love that aspect of this game and those dungeons. I think the dungeon design in this game might be better, but again, that's something I'm gonna have to reserve for when I do play a Chamber of Secrets. Goblet of Fire is all over the place. But I also love the openness of the Hogwarts in this game. Even though it's extremely barren and whatnot. It is what it is. Oh my god. Look at that. Look at our beefy boy. Look at our beefy boy. I got 500 points even. Compared to Hufflepuff's 159. 264 for Ravenclaw and 455 for Slytherin. I wonder if that would have mattered. Like, could we stopped at like 410? Would we get lost? Either way, I'm done ranting about the dungeons. I already said Carpe Retractum to me is the best dungeon designed in the game. Even though I like Glaciatus, the look of Glaciatus' dungeon better. The Whomping Willow is the worst. It's just too repetitive. You're just going from one fight to the next without any puzzle to break it up. Reparo and Lumos' dungeons, mini sections, are okay. They do what they need to do, and that's fine. I really like the Muggle Studies environment compared to the Reparo environment, so that might put it above Reparo. No matter how much I like Hermione Smirk after running across the bridge. But that's just my opinion. And then the Marauders map in the Patronus Boggart mission are above those two. So you got Whomping Willow at the bottom, the Reparo dungeon, sewer dungeon thing, the Muggle Studies rescue mission. Then you have, I'm going to go with the Marauders map, dungeon. Then I'm going to go with the Patronus and Boggart, Glaciatus, Reparo, Carpe Retractum dungeon. If you want to throw the train in there at the beginning, I'd probably put it above at least the Reparo dungeon, just because I think it sets the tone better. But I can't put it above the Muggle Studies room, just because. I don't know, I just can't. But I can at least put it above the Reparo dungeon, because that's just how much I think the tone is set better in it. It ends on a higher note, whereas Reparo Dungeon starts on a higher note. If that makes sense. So, in my opinion, it's better to end on a higher note than it is to start on one. So, yeah, I think it's time we talk to the headmaster and end the game. Oh, it's honestly been really nice playing this game.
Now we reach the end of another eventful school year together. So, for their loyalty, courage, and their significant contributions to the school, it gives me great pleasure to award the House Cup to Gryffindor.
Oh, that was it? No credits? No, nothing? No credits. No nothing. Just boom. End. Wow. I was not expecting. I was expecting some credits. Yeah, it's the gallery. I was expecting some credits. Jeez Louise. Honestly. But yeah, honestly, I have Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone on PlayStation. So that very well could be the next game we let's play in the Harry Potter series. I think soon I'll start buying games on PlayStation 2. For the other two. Chamber and Goblet specifically. Maybe eventually I'll get the Quidditch game. I have them all. Don't get me wrong, I own every single Harry Potter game. Except for the original Lego game in like 2001. 2000, something like that. But they're all on GameCube. Yeah, I own Chamber of Secrets, I own Quidditch, I own Prisoner of Azkaban, and I own Goblet of Fire all on GameCube. Then I rebought Prisoner of Azkaban on PlayStation 2. Or I bought it again. I don't remember. Buy. It's not like I returned and exchanged it, no. So I own it on GameCube and PlayStation 2. And then I own Order of Phoenix, Half-Blood Prince, Deathly Hallows Part 1, and Deathly Hallows Part 2 on Xbox 360. And obviously, y'all know I already own Harry Potter, Lego Harry Potter: The Complete Collection, because I Let's Played it on PS4. Here's the credits. Alright, here's your name, Peeps. Enjoy it. I don't understand why you're making me scroll through it. Why didn't you just scroll through it? Lazies. This makes no sense. Why are they making me scroll through it? But yeah. Technically, I've already Let's Played Order of Phoenix and Half-Blood Prince. But that was through my toaster, my laptop camera. So obviously look for a Redux version of those Let's Plays soon. And by soon, I mean maybe near the end of the year next year, because I have to buy an Xbox 360 HDMI adapter like I did for the PlayStation 2, because my 360 is a model that does not have it. Dueling Club, Power Racing, and Youth. I took. But yeah, that is Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. I had a fun, wonderful time replaying through this game and enjoying my childhood. Because make no bones about it, all these games are a part of my childhood. At different stages, obviously, Order, Half Blood, 360 games were more towards my teenage years, and these PlayStation 2 ones, and Sorcerer on PC, Prisoner, Child of Fire, Order of Phoenix for PlayStation 2. We're all in that, young kid, 5, 6, 7, whatever. That again. Around that age range, so to speak. So yeah, I hope y'all have a great day. Remember, only you can be the best you can possibly be. I hope you enjoyed watching me play this game as I did playing it. Subscribe if you haven't. That'd really help me out. And until the next game, ta-ta for now.